Hey everybody, Pastor Vern, um, June 4th, 2020, one day close to being together again. Um, Not too much really exciting going on as far as our efforts to get together, except that we're just doing the background work. We're doing the things that we need to do to cover our bases so that we can come together and to worship again. You will probably be receiving another letter telling you what's going, some scheduling, plus also a protocol that we have to follow and able to meet the guidelines that have been put out by the various government and church groups that are working to try to keep us safe. So keep that in mind. One of the things I would lift up to you is once you receive those protocols, please read them. And if those protocols are not something that you can adhere to, uh, please stay with the online worship or call me and let me know what is giving you concern about that, and we will see how we can try to accommodate you the best we can. Remember, some of this is put upon us. We have no choice if we want to stay within the guidelines in order that we don't have some disruption because of the breaking of the rules, I guess. So there you go. Got enough about that for now. Today we are going to talk about testimony. Boy, I tell you what, in a lot of churches, that's a scary deal. It's almost one of them taboo words, is because so many of us are stoic enough that testimony is difficult for us to do. I understand that, and many of us have heard testimony that is maybe it has a little more inclusive than it needs to be. So sometimes we get a kind of a bad thought in our mind about what testimony is. But testimony is a valuable part of the Christian tradition. In fact, it's how the Christian tradition got established, because testimony is more than preaching. Testimony is more than prayer. Testimony is more than holding worship services. Testimony is when individuals go out and tell how their life has been changed and affected by a relationship with Jesus Christ. That's really what testimony is about. Your testimony in a court of law is you tell people what you know, what you've experienced, what you've seen truthfully. And that's the other part about testimony that is important, is it has to be the truth of your life in order to be really testimony. And it's sometimes very difficult for people to do, and sometimes it's difficult to hear, because we all come from different directions to our relationship with God, and sometimes the way people get there is hard to hear, because they had to have their hearts softened possibly before they could receive this gift, and maybe in circumstances that are difficult. And so testimony is not something to be avoided. Um, it has a limited value in corporate worship because of some time factors, because of some things that in a large group it may not have the impact that it could have. Where testimony is truly valuable is in a small trusted group, or a smaller group that can focus on what the speaker has to say in a way that's non-judgmental on how that they've come about their relationship with God. That's probably the most difficult thing about testimony, is often it comes through a difficulty, and there's judgment on why that person may have been in that situation in the first place. That's something we need to get over. That's something that we need to, as established denominations, established churches, we have to get past the idea that people come to Christ in a way of perfection, because most of us come to Christ through our imperfections. And if we're waiting for everyone just to say, I was sitting in Sunday school one day and all of a sudden the Spirit was upon me and everything was great. And from then on, I was being called a Christian. Let's don't kid ourselves. For most of us, it doesn't work that way. For most of it, it's a moment of trial that brings us truly to the place where we surrender our lives and then we have testimony to give. I've had a lot of experience with some smaller group settings, weekends, and other studies where people gave their testimonies in a way that you could really, feel it, get into it, understand where this process was coming from. I would love to have some testimonies in church from time to time. We could have some brief ones on how people come to Christ if people are willing to do that. I think occasionally in the larger setting of worship, that's good because it reminds us that we come through many different avenues to know our Savior. All right. Keep up the faith. Take care of yourselves. Watch out for others the best you can. Stay safe. If there's more things coming up that I need to know about, please let me know. I'm trying to address things the best I can and still do honor the guidelines and the restrictions that have been put in place for people's safety. So, but let me know what's going on, and I'll do the best I can. I'm looking forward to seeing you again. We miss you. We love you. Take care. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.